Okay, there we go. So my name is Dr. Kelly Campbell, and I'm the director for the honors program in psychology and child development, so for our department. And what I'm going to do today is go through let me do my screen share for you. I'm going to go through oh, sorry, I'm working on a million things here. I'm going to go through two things today. I'll start with the psychology honors program, and then I'm going to move to Psi Chi. I'm going to talk about Psi Chi after that because I'm also the faculty director for the Psi Chi organization here on campus, which is another honor society, which is actually, I don't know how to word it, more inclusive, maybe. So your GPA doesn't have to be as high to be admitted into Psi Chi. And so, if we're going through the departmental honors and you think, oh, maybe I wouldn't qualify here, well, just hang on because you might qualify for Psi Chi. So we'll talk about both those things. And I should mention that the link for this recording, it will be sent out via email. So we have an undergraduate listserv through the department. You may have seen this workshop advertised there. And we'll be sure to send out the link once this is available on YouTube as well. So if you missed some of the information, you're welcome to go back and listen to it. And then the other announcement I'll make is what I'm going to do is I'll go through all the information for the departmental psych, and then I'm going to go check the chat. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and post those questions there, and I'll respond to them after I've gone through all the information. And then after that, I'll shift to Psi Chi, and then I can take questions on that at the end. Okay, so here's the department, the webpage for you to read more about honors in psychology. But I mean, I don't expect you to remember this link. So all you have to do, the way that I always find it, is I just Google CSUSB Psych Honors, and then it takes me to this page. This is a picture of our current honors class for this year. So you can see it's a pretty big class, and we change this photo every year to highlight our new students. And so let's go through basically just everything on this page. I'll walk you through it. So it's a year-long program. So this program starts in the fall semester and it will go till the end of the spring semester. So you can't join it in spring, you have to join it in fall. And there's only one application per year, and that's going to be July 1st this year. So after you get admitted to the program, hopefully everyone will be successful and get in, then you'll be working with a mentor from the start of the program. In fact, even from summer, sometimes before you're admitted, you start working with that mentor. And then you work with them all the way through to the end when your thesis is done. In addition to that, though, in the fall semester, you have a seminar to attend. So you'll be doing that twice a week on I think it's still going to be offered Tuesdays, Thursdays. It's always been offered that way through the quarter system. And so I think they're continuing with that. And it's a late afternoon class. Like I think they're going to do 4 to 5 or 4 to 6, something like that. I can double check and get back to you if you really need to know. But what most people do is they register for a full course load because they don't really know if they've been admitted yet. So they don't know if they're going to have that seminar class. And then once they get admitted, which you normally find out by like August 1st, you would know if you're admitted, hopefully sooner, but at least, no later than August 1st. Then some students will drop that kind of placeholder course that they use to get the full-time status, and then they'll replace it with the seminar. And you can't add that seminar until you've been admitted to the honors program. So you can't really, if your registration is tomorrow, you can't go ahead and add yourself just in case you get admitted. That happens later in August. The department issues a permission for you, and then you can go ahead and add it to your course load. Some students overload, that's fine too. They keep that full course list and then they add the seminar once they know they're admitted. Okay, so here are the requirements. And as mentioned here, these are for ideal candidates. I don't know if you can see my little mouse moving, or I always do this when I'm on video, but I never know if people can see it. I'm I'm trying to underscore ideal candidates. So I don't know if you can see me doing that or not, but
Yeah, we can.
okay, great. Thanks for telling me. But see this list here? It doesn't mean that you have to have, for instance, a 3.5 in the major or a 3.5 overall. It just means we want you to. We hope that all our applicants do, but sometimes not all our applicants have this perfect, record of all the things we're looking for. And so you want to get as close to it as possible. And so there's some that we're more lenient with than others, and I'll comment on that. And so this one, at least 3.5 in the major, we're a little bit less lenient. So we tend to adhere to this one pretty closely. And that's because we feel like, well, this is honors in psychology. And so for their psych classes, they should be doing really well. It's understandable if you didn't do as well in these other classes. That's bringing your overall down. Okay, so the overall one, we are a bit more flexible. We do like it to be 3.5 or higher, but we will admit you if you're 3.25 or higher. And if you're below 3.25, that's where it's a lot less likely that you would be admitted. But let's say everything else on this list checks out and it's ideal, and that's the only one that's below 3.25, you definitely should still apply. Because what happens is that the way we decide who gets admitted, we never take more than 30 students. We've never done that because that's how that gets a very big section going, and anyways, we just haven't done it. So you're competing with the pool of applicants that year. And so sometimes they're stronger than others. And so, we are flexible to the extent that we can be, but sometimes, if the student, it's just kind of like a case-by-case basis. We look at the whole picture here and we discuss as a committee whether to admit that student. So when more than one thing in the list is not met, that's where it starts to also get a little bit tricky, whether they're going to get admitted or not. Okay, we also are a bit flexible on number 3. So we do like you to have met your writing requirement prior to applying to the program. And so what I mean by that is because the application is July 1, you should have taken it by the end of spring. Same with these GPAs, they're computed after your spring letter grades are in. So they're not computed before it includes spring. If you have not completed this writing requirement, then you should indicate in your personal statement, which I'll get to in a few minutes, that you have not yet completed it, but that you are enrolled or planning to take this in the fall quarter or semester, sorry. And so what happens then is, let's say you're taking it in the fall and you don't get a B or better, the whole committee revisits your application. And let's say you got a C, we'll decide, do you get kicked out of the honors program or what happens in that case. Sometimes we leave it up to the mentor, because the mentor is the one that's got to suffer through your writing if it's that bad. Like editing a thesis where the writing is really terrible, that's what takes the bulk of a mentor's time, just so you know. Okay, then we have Psych 311. And so this is actually one of the strongest predictors of how well a student does in the honors program, is how was their grade in Psych 311. So we like it to be at least a B+. We have admitted students that had a B, but we've never, from what I can remember, I think I've been in charge for 6 years, I don't think we've ever admitted anyone below a B in this one. So it could be a bit flexible, but not that flexible. And then what you'll do is, let's say you're looking good here. I mean, you kind of don't know yet because you have to wait on your spring grades. So if you do, let's say like a credit, no credit, that's one of our options for spring, then those grades wouldn't factor into your GPA, would be based on your other grades. But if you did your letter grades, it would be factored into the GPA. The GPA also is based on CSUSB specific GPA, not transfer GPA. So we're looking at whether you're hitting the mark here and here for the major and overall based on just the courses you've taken at CSUSB, because we know what the standards are here. That's what we want to see in terms of, and I mean, things can happen early on in your academic careers. You could have started out as a different major and your grades weren't as strong. And then once you found your passion in psychology, it's all showing in the last however many units you've taken that you're a strong student. That's another reason why we like to prioritize the courses taken here. Okay, I just need to update this. I mean, I don't think I have access to update it, but I need to have the text update this. But the deadline does not change. So this is just an error. And so it's for next academic year, the deadline will be July 1. And I'm going to go through the application in a moment on another tab over here. And we'll walk through what that is, what you have to do by July 1. And then let's see. This is kind of like what's going to happen once you're admitted. I've mentioned already that you're going to be enrolled in this seminar, which will be in the fall semester only, not the spring. There's no seminar. And what we do in that seminar class is basically like professional development. Like we help you learn what should you be doing to increase the chances of getting into grad school. How can you write a personal statement for grad school? If you're planning to apply for a PhD program, then, you know, when should you be taking the GRE? And just so you know, if you are planning to apply for a PhD program, students can do that from undergrad. They don't have to necessarily do a master's first and then a PhD. They can apply right from undergrad into a PhD program. They'll be competing with applicants who have done their masters. So they need to have a very strong academic record, more than just a high GPA. It would be things like, you'd want to have several conference presentations at professional conferences on your resume. And you'd also want to have ideally some publications. Maybe some papers are, you know, being under review for publication, because it's hard as an undergrad to already be at that stage where things are published. It takes so long to get published a lot of time, but those are things where master students will have usually those things. And so you're competing with them. And so you want to have a strong resume. But the other important part there is taking the GRE, because the GRE is required of most programs. Some are being a bit more flexible now, but still most are requiring it. And all PhD program applications happen in the fall. So usually around December 1st is when those applications are due. So even though in this honors seminar, I talk about strategies for taking the GRE and like when to do it and all that, really you should be studying this summer and ideally taking it this summer if you're trying to apply to PhD programs. And then by taking it this summer, you get a little bit of a buffer included where if you didn't do as well as you'd hoped, then you still have some time before that December 1 deadline, because actually it's not December 1 for your GRE. You need to backtrack a bit because they need time to grade your essay portion. So you can't wait till December, you know, November 30th to take it. You have to backtrack till like usually mid-November is the latest you can possibly take it to get those scores in for your deadline. So even though I talk about it in seminar, it's like a little bit late, you know, so I just want to announce it now. If you're thinking about PhD, start studying this summer, try to take it this summer. The other topics we cover are things like how to write an academic resume, which is called a Vita, Curriculum Vitae, a CV for short. We talk about, your research projects in terms of, because the class is so diverse, you have students in there with all these different mentors who come from different programs like clinical, people who want to become therapists, IO, people who are more like business oriented, specializing in the workplace. You have like cognitive people, you have bio people, you have social people. So all these tons of different domains that people are going to be studying. And so I can't really give in the seminar specifics about your particular project because they differ based on the field, and your mentor is the best person to give you those guidelines. But what I do in the honor seminar is give you some general tips for doing research, for writing a research paper and things like that, which will be applying broadly to most people's theses. We talk about things like ethics. So all these broad topics that are like professional development. It's not super intensive in terms of time commitment for doing the assignments. I have some of them group assignments, some of them individual, because you need to learn to work in a group. That's normal. You're going to have to do that the rest of your life. And so we definitely incorporate some of that into honors, but it's also refining your skills, like presentation skills. You'll get two different presentations you'll have to do and things like that. So it's not super time intensive, but I think you'll find the information valuable for your professional careers, for your graduate school careers. And then while you're doing that in the fall with me, you're also simultaneously working with your mentor to develop your thesis. And so that's independent of the work that I'm doing with you. When I'm assigning your grade for the honors seminar, 50% comes from me and the assignments that I've given in class, and then 50% comes from your mentor. And they grade you based on how well you've met the goals for what they've set out for you for your thesis for fall. By the end of fall, you need to have developed your thesis to the point of, so theses contain multiple chapters or sections, just like in your Psych 311 empirical papers and all published research articles. So the same with your thesis, you're going to have your intro or your lit review where you're building your study rationale, and then also the methods by the end of the fall semester. And then in the spring semester is where you add your results and your discussion sections, and then you have it completely, all done by the time most people are graduating. Some people, they're not graduating. Some people do this program in their third rather than their fourth year. If they've already met the requirements up here, they can apply early. So when people apply early, it can be a good thing in the sense that they get all this information early. And so they're well equipped to know what they should prioritize so they can get into grad school. They can start writing their personal statement much, more in advance compared to other students that are graduating seniors. But the downside, if they're in their junior year, is that they aren't as further along in their studies. They haven't taken as much coursework to prepare them. They may find that, all their classmates are a little bit ahead of them in terms of whatever it is developmentally as a student. And so there's pros and cons. I would still say probably I'd err on the side of doing it early if you can. But yeah, that's just my opinion there. I'm happy to elaborate if you want more information. Okay, and then I guess I should say that even though here in the fall you're doing your intro and your methods section, and then in spring you're adding in results and discussion, you're really working on the entire thesis the entire year. So even in the spring quarter, you're still incorporating edits and revising and changing your intro and your methods. It's never all the way done because a paper can continuously be edited to improve upon it. So you'll be doing that year round. Okay, and then your grade in the spring quarter will be based upon your mentor's evaluation. I don't weigh in on your letter grade. Your mentor will give me the letter grade that I should assign to you based on their assessment of how well you've done with your thesis. Okay, so you can't earn any lower than a B in order to graduate with honors in these 2 semesters for the honors, not for your other classes, but for the honors classes themselves, you have to earn at least a B or better. And most students typically earn A's, but some do earn B's, and some unfortunately have earned C's and they were not able to graduate with honors. Okay, so the other thing that happens, and this is coming up in a couple weeks here on campus, is that all students will be required to present their work at the Meeting of the Minds Symposium. And so you can present either a poster or a paper based on your thesis. And so that's a great place because we get to see your work highlighted. And if you go this year to the Meeting of the Minds, then you can look for the presentations from our current honor students and get a sense for what that thesis project might look like for you. Okay, so then the other thing you'll need to do, I'll get to the application in a sec, is you need to figure out who's going to be your mentor. And so the way that I recommend here, we've outlined some steps for you to find a mentor. So some of you are already working in a professor's research lab and it's going well, and you say, well, I really get along with this person. I like their mentorship style. They study what I want to study down the line. For instance, if they're an IO psychologist and you want to apply to that grad program, then it's a good fit. So you just ask them if they're willing to mentor you in the honors program. You tell them, I'm applying for next year, and here's where my GPA is at right now. Are you accepting students? And I'm sure they'll say yes, because you're already in their lab, so it should be fine. But let's say you don't know anybody and you have no idea how to find a faculty mentor, then I'm just going to walk you through the approach that I personally would take. So if you click on this faculty profiles page, it will take you to this page right here with all the professors in our department listed. And some of them work with students and some of them don't. So usually, for instance, the department chair, he usually doesn't. We're going to have a new department chair next year, just so you know. He's going to be like stepping into retirement, the first phase of retirement. He'll still be around, but he's gradually going to be retiring over the next few years. So some of them don't do research, but most do. So if you click on a particular profile, you should be able to find a section of it where they discuss their research interests. And you'd want to read everything that they write about. And then you want to keep a little list going of the ones that seem most interesting to you. Some of them might have less listed than others. Like, let's see if John puts anything. He has a little bit, you see, but a little bit less than Mark. Some might not have anything, and then it's not much help, but most will have at least something. So if I were you and I didn't have any idea who I should work with, I would start here by going through every faculty member's profile and keeping a list of like the most interesting to the least, not for everybody, but let's say a top 5 or top 3 list. Okay, and then you go approach the person who's your first choice. And the way you approach them is you send them an email and you say, I'm applying to the honors program for next academic year. I'm a junior right now. I'll be in my senior year by that time. My GPA is this. The reason I'm reaching out to you is because I'm interested in your work on blah, 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 whatever they study that you care about. Are you accepting students for the honors program next year? And if so, please let me know if you would like to set up a meeting or what more information you would like from me at this stage, something like that. And then because we're like way too busy and we get like 400 emails a day or something, you know, it might get buried and we didn't see it, and then you don't hear back and you get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. It's just normal. We get too many emails. So what you're going to need to do in that case is just keep, go back to your sent, resend it, so just resend it and say, I don't know, dear Professor so-and-so, I don't know if you had a chance to read my email yet, but blah, blah, blah. I'm interested in working with you and I hope to hear back soon. Something like that. If they still don't reply after a second time, maybe you could move on to your next choice. Okay, that's up to you. Or you can reach out to me. That would be another good way. Reach out to me and say what happened, and then I can reach out to them. That would be a good suggestion. And then, okay, so I think that's what I'll say on that. Let me go through the application and then I'll get to the questions. So when you click on that apply link here, it'll take you here. You don't need to do this anytime, soon. You just need to do it by July 1. So you'll put your full name, your student ID. This is where your mentor's name goes once the person has agreed to work with you. And I would say try to secure that faculty mentor sooner than later, because they might already say yes to a certain number of students and now they can't take any more. So then they have to say no to anybody else who asks. So it's better to do that earlier. You get your first choice, hopefully, of mentor. You put their email, because once you hit submit on this application, they're going to get emailed and they have to approve it, and then it'll get moved on to me. This one of when you first came here to CSUSB, this if you're junior or senior, you're going to be a junior or senior for next year. This is your email. The major would be either psychology or human development. And then you'd want to wait until your grades are in for spring. So don't apply before that. And then, choose. So if you're not at 3.5, if you're at 3.4, then put no. And same thing goes here. If it falls below, put no. And then you can enter, the number of units that you've taken. And then, for your Psych 11 grade, Psych 311 grade, you'd indicate, and this one too. So So this one we want a B in the writing, and then this one we want a B plus. So if you get a B in Psych 311, then select no. Okay, so you need to make sure both of those. And this is just kind of our, I don't know, what do you call it? Like a little screening thing or something, but it doesn't really matter because we go and we double check your GPA anyways. But anyways, just do those things. Maybe we put it in there to prompt you to know that you shouldn't apply to honors unless you're at least like close to these things. Okay, and then you need like a 2-page letter of application, or what we call like a personal statement. And it's going to include these things that we've outlined here. So these 4 things. So the first thing is your background and interest in either human development or psychology, whichever one. And some of you are double majors, and that's fine. And you can choose. If you're a double major, you can just choose which major you fit most closely with. Like some people, they already know they might want to do a child development grad program, then they might choose child development for the one to put for their major. So basically in part A, you're highlighting everything that you personally bring to this program. Like, what are your strengths as an applicant? What are the good qualities, or not good qualities, but what skills and training do you have already that make you a strong candidate for this program? So it's all about you, okay? Your background, your training. And then this next one is what you want to do in terms of research topic. And so, and then what preparation have you had for that? So if you are already working in someone's lab and that's the topic of interest that you've been working on, great. Just go ahead and explain that. And your training includes working with this mentor and all the things that they've taught you. If you don't already have that type of experience, it's no problem. You've had different classes that have prepared you. So maybe you've taken your research methods or stats, Psych 311, or whatever classes you've written, research papers, anything like that is also training that you can mention in there. Or anything else that you think of that, that kind of provides you with some background. But definitely state the topic you would like to pursue in your thesis, even if it's something broad like interpersonal relationships. Like I study couple relationships and friendships. Even if it's something as broad as I want to examine friendships, that's fine. If you know more specifically, great. But we don't hold you to it. We don't say, oh, in your statement you said you were going to look at this topic, so you better. No, it's just that changes, and that's fine. We don't care. We want to know you've thought about it. We want to see that effort has been put in. And then including upcoming work. So you might not have started on a thesis yet, but you might know from talking with a particular mentor what that thesis is going to look like. If you do get admitted, you'll mention something like that there. Okay, next one, why you want to join the program. And so there you would kind of combine it in with D, which is, what is your goal after this? What field do you want to work in? What grad program will you be applying to? What profession would you like to ultimately have? And then how will this program prepare you toward those goals? And the reason we ask that is because for some people, doing this year-long thesis and putting in all this research and time is not well suited for the goal that they have. Like sometimes there's they have a goal to become a physician's assistant. And the people who are deciding on whether to admit an applicant to those programs don't care about the fact that you have a thesis. And so we just want to see that whatever you've outlined as your future plans, that it matches in terms of what we're going to be providing you with, the training and skills in this program. It doesn't mean that we'll reject you if you're a strong applicant and you still want to do it because you want to keep your options open. Maybe you don't know for sure if you're going to follow that line, so that's fine. But we just want to see that some thought has gone into it. So you prepare that in Word and then you upload it over here. And then you type your name and you put the date and you go submit. Okay, so let me go ahead and let me see if I can get into my chat without stopping my share screen. Okay, there we go. Yes, it would help if you can see when the seminar classes will be held. That way I can accommodate my schedule. Let me go on my phone and see if I can figure that out, because I might be able to. No, I think I'll have to go on to my computer. So, are you all able to see the fall schedule yet? Someone tell me. Can you see the fall schedule? Let me see. Okay. Well, anyways, if someone could look into it while we're in this session, that'd be great. Because if not, we can go look into it afterwards together once we're done. Just remind me before the schedule lets out, before the session lets out. We'll go try and find it online together, and we can get you the answer. Okay. So currently in Psych 311, can I reach out to a mentor? Yes. You need to secure the mentor before you apply to the program. They'll approve the application for you. And yes, you do wait for your spring grades before applying. You don't have to. We're still going to go ahead and check, but you won't really know what to put in the application because you have to select if your grades are higher than 3.5. So you don't have to. You can guess. We're still going to double check it, but so this is kind of the same question. Even, I would say you don't, okay, again, you don't have to wait till spring grades are posted. We will double check your GPA. You just won't necessarily know how to answer those questions, but maybe you already know, I get an A's, I'm getting A's now, I get A's all the time. So then you're good to go. You don't need to worry. You already know your GPA is going to be high enough, then you can apply anytime. Okay, and y'all said you don't think the fall schedule is up. Let me see if I can just do it right now, and then I'll go into, so how am I going to find this? CSUSB. No, I think I'll do course browse. Let's see, fall. We'll do, what's my class? Did I put the new, I'm going to have a new number, 5598. Okay, well, I was thinking for a very long time. Okay, we'll come back to that. So let's go into this, get out of here. Let's go into Psi Chi, because as I mentioned at the outset, this is another honor society in psychology. It's a little bit more relaxed in terms of the GPA requirements. So it fluctuates year to year because they take only the top, like 1/3 of all psychology majors. So I have to go ahead and look at what's the GPA for all of our psych majors right now, and then where does that mean for the 1/3? And so usually it's if you're around 3.0 or higher, then you're eligible for Psi Chi. And what it is it's an international society that you will pay a one-time fee, and then once you've paid that fee, you're a member for life. And you stay a member, it's for undergrads, for graduate students, for professionals, it doesn't matter. So you don't it's not like you're a member only if you're an undergrad, and then once you go into your grad program, you're no longer active in Psi Chi. It's something, for all levels, for all stages. And what they have is basically a number of different resources for you. So if you're applying to conferences like APA, American Psychological Association, or another one would be like WPA, which is the Western division of that. They have their own conference. When you're applying for those conferences or the APA affiliated conferences, they ask you at the time of your submission if you're a Psi Chi member. And if you are, you check a box and you get special consideration. They have certain sections of the conferences just for Psi Chi members to present their work. And so if you go to one of those sections, everybody in it is another Psi Chi member. And then they have awards for those presentations. So they give you like first, second, or third, like this was the best one in this session. So you get some privileges like that. You also can apply for certain scholarships and grants. And so I would recommend that you go to the Psi Chi website, and you can look through all the different things that they offer you, and then you can decide if this is for you in terms of would you use any of these resources. If you would apply for some of them, then definitely you should go ahead and apply for Psi Chi and become a member. The other thing that it gives you an opportunity to do is to serve on the council, like to serve as an officer. You can serve, so there's basically this national or international association, and they have their own councils and opportunities where students can serve. But then of course we have our local chapter too here at CSUSB. And so you can be, you know, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. We have a community liaison, different, a webmaster type social media person. So we have different positions available. And if you're interested in running for one of those, because as you'll see when you either get admitted to the honors program for psychology or not admitted, I send you an email and I tell you one of the things you should be doing is getting involved in organizations like this. So it looks really good. You would put this, for instance, on your CV, your Vita, as one of your honors or professional associations. And then importantly, it would look especially good if you're serving in one of those officer roles and doing a good job in those roles, because now, you know, I'm the advisor of Psi Chi. If you're not doing a good job, I would like to just kick you out of that role, because I need to have people who are really committed and doing their job. Also, usually like the professors who are in charge of like Psi Chi, for instance, or if you're a part of another club, they could also write reference letters for you. And so you don't want to be taking on a position just because it looks good on your resume, but then you're not doing very much for it, because if you're not doing a good job, it's pointless. It holds everybody up. So we want dedicated people who are really interested in it. And what the members do, the officers, they organize different events throughout the year that are relevant to the mission of the association, which is basically research. And so they'll do things like, in the fall, they had a workshop about getting into graduate school, and they had students from different graduate programs. They'll come talk to anyone who attends the workshop about what it's like to be in graduate school, how did they apply, and those kind of things. They held the, they've done historically the Love Symposium, which is around Valentine's Day, where different researchers who study something related to love, like I'm one of the speakers normally, they talk about their research on that. And this year was so well attended. It was like the whole room, we couldn't even fit any more people in the room. They were out in the hallway, but it was really successful. But they'll hold different events like that, different events that will help students. And usually they'll email, like this past fall, they emailed all Psi Chi members to say, what kind of topics do you want us to cover? And so they'll provide workshops and other things too, like preparing for the conference itself. If you submit your work and you get it accepted for presentation, now here's some tips on how to prepare for that conference, what you can do at the conference, and things like that. So I think that's you know, basically what I have to say. Let me check the chat, but if there are I know we have some current honor students and Psi Chi members. Obviously, Psi Chi, every year they work with the Psych Club to organize this honors info session. And so I know we have members here from both places. And so let me just finish with the chat, and then I want to turn it over to see if anyone would like to weigh in with the student perspective. Okay, so are you still able to join the honors program if you're not able to attend the scheduled hours? No, you cannot. You cannot join the honors program if you're unable to attend the fall seminar. You have to attend the fall seminar. Thank you so much for doing this. So everyone who cares, the schedule for the seminar is going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, excuse me, 4 to 5:15. Yes, you can definitely be admitted to both Psi Chi and the honors program. Anyone who meets that 3.0 threshold and who is a psychology major can be in Psi Chi. So they're just two totally separate things, the Psych Honors program here in our department and Psi Chi. Okay, so let me see if anyone, let me stop sharing for now, okay? And are there any honor students, former or current, who would like to step in? Let's start there, and then after that we can ask if we have some Psi Chi members who'd like to also chat. Go ahead, you can just go ahead and unmute yourselves and chat. I should mention also that if students in this session have questions for those people, they can also post them in the chat, and I'll monitor over here. Okay, well, do you want me to call on someone? Well, I know we have Sophia in here. She can comment on both because she's, president of Psi Chi, and she's in the honors program, and she's also one of those students who joined the honors program in her junior year. So she may also want to share something along those lines too. But Sophia, you can start.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophia. So yes, as Dr. Campbell said, I am the current president of Psi Chi and I'm also a honors student. I think both of these are such amazing programs, especially if you're definitely passionate about research. I'm just going to start off with Psi Chi. So like Dr. Campbell mentioned, we do a lot of different events that are geared towards students who are interested in pursuing some type of master's or like doctoral degree, or just giving them extra information that you're not really getting from your classes. For example, this past fall, we did a grad panel, which was really informative for students who are interested in the master's programs here on campus. One of our most popular ones is a clinical counseling. So we ask students who are currently in the program to answer all types of questions like, how can I better prepare myself as a student? What are some types of things I should have on my application? How can I get more involved? Things like that that you're not really going to be getting from your classes. Um, so I think it's such a great experience, especially if you want to be more involved in research. Also, the Love Symposium is also a great way for you to reach out to faculty who are studying different aspects of love, if that's something you're interested in researching, and getting connections with them, being able to get the opportunity to maybe email them and ask them if they're accepting any students to potentially work with them in the future. And
Sophia, sorry to interrupt, but they want you to talk a little bit louder if possible.
okay, sorry
Okay.
about that, guys. Um, So it's definitely a great opportunity if you are interested in working with any of those faculty. It also gives you opportunities to seek out different types of scholarships and get grants, especially if you are doing research. A lot of students go on to travel to various types of conferences. A lot of them can be local, but a lot of them are also out of state. So in order to get this funding, you can do that through the Office of Student Research, but Psi Chi, being a member of Psi Chi, gives you access to those as well that you wouldn't be able to get elsewhere. And then moving into the honors program, that has been such a wonderful experience. One, because you're able to build long lasting friendships with an amazing cohort. As Dr. Campbell mentioned, this past year we had the biggest cohort that they've ever had. So I've met some amazing people. I'm also able to work year long with a mentor, and that is also itself a long lasting relationship. And I'm also able to study a subject that I'm interested in. Depending on who your mentor is, a lot of them a little bit more flexible in terms of letting you do a topic that you're more interested in, or if they want you to focus on something that they've already done or are currently doing, it's really up to the mentor that you work with or that you choose. But that is just such a wonderful opportunity. And then we're also like the next coming weeks, we're going to be all presenting at the meeting of the Mind Symposium, where we're all able to share the work that we've done this year and go on to present at various conferences. So that is really exciting. You work on this year-long project. It is a lot of work. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not, but you're working on it bit by bit, and you definitely have to build on it kind of weekly. And meeting in the class the fall semester or quarter is definitely also a great experience because you're learning about all types of things that, again, you're not exposed to in your regular class setting. Things like how to build a CV, or how to better boost your GPA, or how to get more involved in research and things like that. So it's definitely such a great experience. I did it my junior year, and I'm currently a junior right now. And I think it's been such a great experience. If possible, I'd love to do it again. Working on this project has been one of the most exciting things I've done here at CSUSB. So I recommend everyone to do it if you can. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Sophia, can you comment on a couple of the questions in the chat are asking for the student perspective, or if there's others here, if there are other students from honors, they can weigh in. But can you speak at all to the number of units? Like, is it difficult to keep a full-time schedule with coursework and then adding this thesis on top? Someone's saying like 16 units for fall plus honors. Is that realistic? I don't know if you know how the conversion will go for you, but I think a full-time load would be 5 classes normally. So I guess just commenting on if what's your perception of taking a full course load plus adding this thesis to it, the honors program?
So I think it's really on a case-by-case basis. For example, the project that I'm currently doing, I've done it like from scratch. So it's not something that my mentor has worked on previously. I think if you're doing this project completely by yourself in terms of like you're not building on something your mentor has already done, it is going to be a lot more work. But I'm not going to say that it's not doable. I took 16 units when doing this, when doing honors, and it wasn't overwhelming for me. I did have to make sure that I was up to date on everything. I was constantly putting in work for my thesis and making sure that I was getting all my assignments done, but I was also able to communicate well with my mentor when sometimes I needed to have deadlines pushed back and whatnot. So I think if you're able to communicate well with your mentor and you really have strict deadlines for yourself and you really keep yourself accountable, it's definitely doable. But again, it's a case-by-case basis.
Okay, thank you. Let me see, there was one other question here. So they're a transfer student. This is their second quarter at CSUSB. Would I be able to apply for Psi Chi now? Okay, for Psi Chi, actually, we do look at your transfer GPA. So it's not a rule that I make up. It's actually a rule that's set by the International Association. It's your cumulative GPA from all the university or college classes that you've taken, no matter where you took them. And you can apply at any point. If you just got to CSUSB, you can still apply. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, everyone, any other questions? Feel free to put them in the chat. We'll give a couple minutes. And then other Psi Chi officers or former honor students, I know Will's in here. If he wants to say anything, or anybody else, feel free to step in. And yes, a person's asking, can both Psi Chi and honors for psychology be done? Yes. I mean, Psi Chi is not a program. It's just like being a member, and the extent to which you take on tasks is up to you. So if you want to run for an officer position and take that on, that's up to you. But beyond that, you don't really have to do anything in Psi Chi, you know, but it would be great for you to apply for scholarships and things, but it's really up to you how much you want to do. The mandatory seminar that I'm talking about for honors is only on the San Bernardino campus, not at the PDC campus. And we've had several students from PDC take part in the honors program. And so what they do is they either drive in just for that, or sometimes they schedule other classes at the San Bernardino campus for that semester, because they want to, you know, if they're going to be here anyways, may as well take other classes. There's of course the shuttle, which usually they're adding more and more times to the shuttle, so you could use that as an option. And then some students for their senior year have actually moved over here and taken all their classes at San Bernardino campus. So either one of those would work, but you do have to be there in person. We don't like, well, I should say, they're probably for this fall, they're probably going to make classes online. They haven't said that yet, but it looks like that's probably. So I guess, you know, wait and see if that announcement gets made, and you might not even have to leave your house. I mean, hopefully it's not like that, but so it's a unique year. For this upcoming year, we may have that as what we're dealing with. If you want to email me, I'll put my email in the chat, but it's just Kelly, Kelly, @csusb.edu. And if you want to, you know, you could email me with questions, or if you want to be linked up with someone in one of these like in Psi Chi Association or a former honor student, or like, let's say for instance, with the PDC students, I sometimes link them up to the other former PDC students who participated in honors. So if you need me to link you up to someone for a student's perspective for questions, then send me an email and I can do that. The seminar is just for fall, not for spring. This person says, can they reach out to a mentor now, or should they wait till they finish 311? You should reach out now, because as I mentioned, for one, they might say yes to other students and then they're full and they say no to you. The other reason is because even if you don't get into the honors program, it's still good. What I recommend to those students, I send them an email, I say you didn't get admitted, unfortunately, but what I recommend is join Psi Chi, get involved in the Psych Club, and get into a professor's lab. You can still work with a professor and work in their lab, even if you don't get admitted to the honors program, and that helps prepare you for grad school. So the sooner you can get into the mentor or prospective mentor's lab or a person's lab, the better it is. Sophia has also put her, yes, fall might be online. Okay, we don't know. We don't know for sure, but it definitely is being considered right now. Sophia has put her email there. Thank you so much, Sophia, so that students, you can contact her if you have questions about either of these two things. She's resent the Google Sheet for the extra credit sign-in. Okay, I don't know, Will or any other students, I don't want to take your time. Did you want to chime in about anything? Okay, maybe not, no problem. So the other thing that I do see in the chat is some are going to be online. We do know that for sure. Summer will be online. They have made that announcement. So we do know that. Okay, everyone. That's our time in that case. And as I mentioned, this recording will get sent out through the department listserv for all of our undergrads. I appreciate you coming, and stay safe and take care. And I'll go ahead and put my email also in the chat in case you need to reach me after this. And that's it. Okay, take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.